night. Good night, St. Martin. And yes, we are back. Welcome to your favorite online internet program, www.sxmtalk.com. Of course, I'm your host, Christopher Emmanuel. And there's no amount of apologies that one can give for our long hiatus off of the program. But I can tell you this, half of the blame needs to go to my production manager because he was busy with other business enterprises that he himself has been involved in. And yes, one couldn't have let it get away, else it would have been a great loss for his company and stuff like that. So I understand. And we got to send out our apologies to all the peoples who have been asking when are we coming back on, what is going on. And remember we said that we will be taking out the Thursday show. But things are so hot. Things are so testy and steamy and interesting things happening right now in the country that I told him, I said, boy, aren't you finished with your enterprise? Aren't you finished with your business? I really, really, really need to get back on the program. And I beg him and I say, I want to have a show tonight because the people are asking, Chris, what is going on? What is happening? We ain't got no information. We ain't hearing you. And I said to myself, oh my goodness, my loyal followers, I have to bring them up to speed and stuff with, what is going on in our country, with our government, whether it's a Mexican standoff, a governor standoff, a parliament standoff, whatever standoff it is, it's time for things to get on. And that's why we are here tonight on www.sxmtalk.com. So call a friend, call someone and tell them to log on now to their your favorite internet program. And if you notice or if you have viewed my Facebook page, to anyone that I have on my Facebook page, you will have seen the topic up. No end to their greed. No end to their greed, MPs. No end to their greed, members of parliament. And I'm going to give you the rundown in chronological order as to what caused the fall of this government. And you know why it's so funny? Last year you had the Carnival coup. So right during Carnival, you had them up on stage holding hands, the I3 and this and that. So they tried to make it another Carnival coup or fish day coup. But it just didn't work. And the backlash from it now is the resentment of the people to what is happening. Because let's get down to the facts. These are the reasons that they said the government fell. No cohesiveness and no professionalism. Now, that is the most absurd reason one can give to throw down a government. So it leaves you to wonder, what does it mean? What does it mean when they say no cohesiveness and no professionalism? What does cohesiveness mean? What does it mean? Where does the word come from? Cohesiveness. Okay? Can one explain it to me? Well, to be cohesive, all right, means to be in sync, to be in line, to be with one, to be together, working as one. So in other words, they say there was no cohesiveness. So they was out of sync. They weren't working together. Things wasn't going well. That's what they're saying. No professionalism. So in other words, the ministers and them was behaving like riffraffs. They was coming to work sloppy. They had no manners. They was totally disrespectful. But don't worry, Christopher going to break it down here for you tonight. And it came from Romain Laville, Roy Marlin, and Leroy DeWeaver. And when I done with them here tonight, St. Martin, you're going to understand when I said there's no end to their greed. You see? There's no end to their greed. And also, I'm going to touch, because it speaks volumes as to what our ministers was doing just to keep the peace. All right? Just to keep the peace. Now, I'm also going to be touching up on a few of my friends like Don Hughes, because I've been reading a lot of his postings recently, because there's a lot of posting going on. And Don Hughes is my good friend. I also going to be touching up about Edwin Gums, these hypocritical people that we have in this place. You know, all the expertise and being a member of the parliamentary system for 20 years, when all you wanted was to get in government here. And because nobody wasn't worrying with you, but you're so absurd. What's the word to use? Right? You just want to force your way in. And we all knew, and I know, that you have always been the supporter of Romain Laville and all kind of stuff like that. You come with your boasty self, walking into parliament to be the recorder. Total disrespect. But then you're talking like only you know the Constitution. And when it doesn't work well, it's a technicality. These are the kind of people that we have here that are causing the destruction in this country. But let's reverse. I want to say this to my good buddy, Don Hughes. I read a piece that you wrote on one of the Facebook opinion page. And yes, I know it's your opinion. And this is what you said. The boy Romain did good for himself in 3 years. And now they're snitching what all he got and what all he didn't get. No, Mr. Hughes. You need to stop this. Not only should you stop it, but you should know better. People like you, Mr. Hughes, are the ones that have young people back in this country. Because I remember when you came to Holland and you told us that St. Martin need us, come home. And I would say about 75% of that congregation that you spoke to, that audience that you spoke to back then, are home here in St. Martin. But you're turning around now. And you're saying that the boy did well in 3 years. No, Mr. Hughes. What this boy have done is set a nasty and dangerous precedent for the next generation of politicians in this country. So it will never be about country. It will always be about self. It will never be about political ideology. It will be about political individuality. Is what I can get. Is what is for me. Is how I can make myself better. Is how I can set myself up. That is a dangerous precedent, Mr. Hughes. And you should not be saying that he did well. That is not doing well. That is sending wrong messages. It's about working for the country and not working for yourself. Now I understand the political game. You're going to siphon off a little bit for yourself. You're going to make sure you're in position to hook up yourself. But don't send out the message, Mr. Hughes, that you have done well. No. No. Because this borders on criminality and theft of the country. You're no different, Mr. Romain Laville, to a pirate. You're no different. Because it's raping and scraping. And these gangsters that are coming back in the government, oh my goodness, Maurice Lake as a minister, St. Martin, we are going to see dark days in this country if we allow this to happen. I am saying we need to come out in droves and in numbers and march tomorrow and send a resounding and clear message to the hijacking of government by these greedy members of parliament and these greedy ministers. That is not to happen. We have the prime minister sitting down there in her pompous attitude. She don't know this and she don't know that, when all along it is her son and her son-in-law and Matza is who's wheeling and dealing behind the Justice Park issue. She is the one benefiting from the Justice Park. Her son and the son-in-law are the ones involved in the Justice Park. But hold up. It's not about the Prime Minister tonight. I have a whole script coming on her. It's about the members of Parliament, Romain Laville, Leroy DeWeaver, and Roy Marlin. I don't want to come here. I really don't want to get into the discussion as to what he got and what he didn't get and what he didn't get. But let me tell you something, St. Martin. Let me tell you the reason behind the destruction of and the fall of this government. Okay? No end to their greed and their wants. Okay? In 16 days, this boy got a parcel of land for his father. The $400,000 for Tempo. The 135,000 guilders for the Soccer Garden boys, and it's rumored that they only got 15,000. Okay? His wants and wants and wants and wants and wants. And then to spin it around, Tempo is coming back and requesting another $600,000. This is the reason why he wants to be Minister of Tourism. Okay? Because he must get his cut. He must get his cut. It must be for him. And then he's doing the ultimate sacrifice. It's the most ridiculous notion that you have. Because if there is no cohesiveness, it is the duty and the responsibility of members of parliament to call the ministers to order and bring them in line and say, listen here, partner, you're not working with us. But you see, they're not working with us in the betterment of the country. That is what they was doing. You're not working with us in the betterment of me. That is what they refuse not to do anymore. Leroy the Weaver, the chunk of land that you never would have gotten under Tia Heiliger, you got it with this government. But you wanted more and more and more. And St. Martin people, sorry, that's what it's about. That's what it is about. That's all it is. Their wants. Their greed. They just keep wanting and wanting and wanting and wanting and wanting. And the ministers had to put a stop to it. They said no. But this is where I get vexed with our ministers. Because when I come for a request, you're sending me through the ringer. I going through the mill. I got to wait. Okay? I have to wait. I have to go and come back and keep calling. But they get it one time. So I'm asking MP Romain Laville, what is the ultimate sacrifice, my friend? What is the ultimate sacrifice that you're making, and for who? Okay? But I have news for you. Good luck if you pass the screening to become a minister. And the day you become a minister, I give you 3 months. I give you 3 months because you're giving up your parliamentary seat. And if your good friend who have 20 years and odd years in parliamentary experience, Mr. Gums, will advise you not to give it up, since he knows so much. These hypocrites and backstabbers, these are the real wolves in sheep clothing. That's who they are. St. Martin, we have gangsters in government. And anytime the governor don't recognize the legitimacy of the voice and the cries of the people of St. Martin for new elections, I am saying it here and today, any government that these guys go in, I would recognize them as an illegitimate government because they went against the wishes of the people. Sarah Westcott Williams, you are no longer, in my eyes, viewed as a prime minister in this country. Because everything out of your mouth is for the people and the people and the people. Well, if that is the case, then give the same people that you're talking about the opportunity to tell you and the rest of all the politicians who they want to do for themselves. Give them that right and that opportunity to vote for themselves. We don't want your dictatorial sort of government, because every government that was made up, fallen and built up here, you and the Democratic Party has been part of it. But you know what? You know what? I got to apologize to my boy Dave, because he had told me that when I was beaten up on the first government that had fallen with Tia Heiliger. When I didn't mention DP because they had formed a coalition with us, he was right. DP is to be blamed also. And in this instance, I don't so much really want to comment on Romain Laville, but Leroy the Weaver and Roy Marlin? Leroy the Weaver and Roy Marlin? St. Martin, let me say this here today. Out of all the members of parliament, even Jules James, that's to tell you, comes out with a halo over his head than these two. They are the most conniving, sneaky. How many of you guys have watched Dora? You ever sit down with your children and watch Dora? Dora the cartoon. Dora, Boots, and all them shit just come on. And there's a fox in the cartoon called Swiper. And he does come and he does steal and jock away things from you and throw it away. And when he come in, Dora does say, Swiper no swiping, Swiper no swiping. And he does grab it and he does say, it's too late. And he have a kind of funny laugh. A sneaky, nasty, cruel, conniving fox. That's the description of these two gentlemen. They are conniving. And they have nothing good in them for you, St. Martin. Nothing good. Because this government was working well. Things was getting done. Things was moving forward. This government had respect for the prime minister. And that's the dirty nastiness of it. And here comes my part. And when I speak this way, then I say, no, Chris, don't do it. But it is clear, and I said it on the radio, it is clear. When they formed the government with us, the Michael Ferriers and all them disappear. You know why they disappear? Because we are too black. They don't want to be associated with the black boys. So they disappear. They fade away in the background. Smoke. They mingle in between. You couldn't find them no more. But from the moment the government fall and they come back, all of a sudden they up. This is the nasty kind of way of these mulatto people. They choose a side. Okay, the government didn't fall because they say they was corrupt. The government didn't fall because they say they wasn't doing their jobs. The government didn't fall because, look, listen, one of them get involved in something. No cohesiveness and professionalism. You're going to drop a government for no cohesiveness and professionalism. And I'm saying this to St. Martin people. This is the reason why I'm urging you guys to come out in droves tomorrow. Come out tomorrow. Because we had this government already. We have seen this government before. And it didn't work then. And it's not going to work now. How many more governments we must have a Sarah Tree cabinet? It is ludicrous. But I'll tell you one thing. What I know all political parties have learned through this experience. No more and never again would we ever see the cabinet of the prime minister coming from the smallest political party. It will never happen again. This is the reason why Sarah Westcott Williams don't want elections. Because she know she's not even good for one seat. She's not even good for one seat. And this is the reason why they don't want new elections. Her son and her son-in-law must continue raking up the deals of this Justice Park. And I'm urging those people in them in Cahill, those carties in them in Cahill, to wake up and stop selling and negotiating with your land. Stop it. And you know who's another weasel? That Patrick Illich. But it's not about he tonight. It's definitely not about him tonight. Okay? St. Martin people, come out in droves tomorrow and let us march. And I'm saying this to the governor. You better do what you have to do. Because that nonsense where you send back in the newspaper today, guys try to get it together. How dare you go against the voice and the concerns of the people of St. Martin? Didn't you see there was a Sarah 1 cabinet, a Sarah 2 cabinet, and now you're saying that it's better to have a Sarah 3 cabinet? Yes, we understand the numbers. Yes, we understand a government has formed, but give the people and them the choice to decide who they want. And I am saying this here tonight. I am saying this here tonight. I am a Republican. Like Helman Wheel said, I don't recognize the monarchy. So Mr. Governor Eugene Holiday, Christopher Emmanuel, don't recognize your position here in this country. Thus the reason why I am saying independence by 2020. We need to get rid of you bald heads in this country who's bleeding and sucking us dry. You pirates, you guys are worse than the house Negroes that we had, scraping and eating the crumbs off of the tables from the master. That's how bad it is. All of you Maurice Lakes and all of you Michael Ferriers and all of you Frankie Myers and all of you kind of people and them, the Josiane Flemings, you guys need to be ostracized and placed on a little island by yourself, because there's only one thing in all your heart when it comes to St. Martin, and that is greed. And let me tell you what is going to happen here in St. Martin. Let me tell you why we need a new government and why we need new elections. And I'm listening to my boy Alston. Oh, the people them don't want new elections, they want new representation, and they want this. And I applaud him. I think that young people should come together, should come for a list. Been there, done that. 2003, PPA. Okay? Christopher Emmanuel is the only one who hasn't resigned from the board of the PPA. Me. Because I believed that an alternative was the best thing here in St. Martin. But Don Hughes and Gracita Arundel, okay, thought that Tia Heiliger would have buttered their bread. So they rushed over there because they thought the grass was really and truly greener on the other side. But they got nothing. All right? So let me say this to Mr. Alston Lawrence. The people don't want new representative. The people that want good and respectable and credible representative. And that can be found on any political list. So you don't want new elections because your party that you're coming out with is not ready as yet. That is not the fault of the people. That is your fault for not being prepared and being on time for elections to be called. So stop the political games and spreading the rumors. Okay? Of the this, of the that, of that. You is out of the DP camp. That's the camp that you came from. And it's hard for you to take that cloak off of you, because once you get stained in DP, it's like a permanent tattoo. You can't wash it off. St. Martin, we are going through a tumultuous situation right now in our society and in our new country. And I'm going to tell you why. The old politicians that are reigning now needs to go. And because the majority of them that has it now know that their time is at end, they know that they are no longer coming back, is why they don't want new elections. So for them now is to rake up. You can imagine a Roy Marlin being a prime minister or the president of parliament here in St. Martin. I mean, these guys and them got their guy, they come into their politics poor and they have left rich. But I'm not hating. Like Don said, they have done well for themselves. But look around in your society and in your country. Look at the disparity between them and you. Look at it, St. Martin. Look at it. Greed, greed, and greed is what have us where we are today. Greed. Because the minister said, guys, you want too much. Just because the minister said you want too much. Leroy the Weaver ain't getting a digging up at the harbor for his real estate company to control the selling of Bobby property. That's one of the reasons. You know why? Because young local boys with real estate companies is who's getting the deal. And he don't like that. He don't like that. Okay? He don't like it. Romain want his $600,000 and $700,000 for tempo or coming, because he break off from it. He get the land that he wanted. He get his 400,000 that he wanted. He 135,000 that he wanted. That's all it is for these guys. There's no end. There's no end to their greed. But I'm going to say this. Their time is up. Mr. Governor Eugene Holliday, you better look and see and listen to what the people are saying. We want new elections. And that's the cry from the people. New elections, new elections, new elections. And I'm saying this here again. If that is not the case, then any government that is in now is illegitimate. And you, Mr. Governor, have sealed your fate with the truth and the feelings of St. Martin people, no longer would you be viewed as the man of reason, because you have chosen side instead of you have chosen the political side instead of the people's side. And that's what it is. Okay? St. Martin, I got to point my finger at you all too. Start electing people with integrity and hold them accountable. Okay? It's alleged that another tape is out, and this one was shown a tape, and that one was shown a tape. These guys and them held Romain under their wing when the up wanted to shred him apart, collar him. This is the same boy. This is the same boy that went on his own volition and filed a case against Tia Heiliger. This same boy that pulled a gun and threatened to kill Jules James. This same boy. So the question is, what have William Marlin done to you? What have Sylvia Jacobs done to you? What have Romeo Pantoflet done to you? Sorry. What have Mr. Tuitt done to you? What have they done? And in other words, this let me show you. Let me show you guys, right? How their reason as to no cohesiveness and no professionalism is so ridiculous. So in other words, no cohesiveness and no professionalism from William Marlin. No cohesiveness and no professionalism from the minister Roland Tuitt. No cohesiveness, no professionalism from Romeo Pantoflet. No cohesiveness, no professionalism from Sylvia Jacobs. No cohesiveness, no professionalism from Minister Duncan. But Sarah Westcott Williams and Connie Weaver had cohesiveness and professionalism. Huh? They got cohesiveness and they got professionalism. That's the question I want to ask you guys. How is it that 5 of them don't have cohesiveness and don't have professionalism, but 2 has? And Prime Minister Sarah Westcott Williams, don't you have no shame? Don't you have no shame? So now today, we have seen the truth and the motives behind your Zumba. You want to make it a spin and talk about the women and them, and the women this, and the women that. No, Prime Minister. Your Zumba is not only about women. It should be about exercise. But your political career is over, and it has been downplayed with a nasty and dirty side to all your greed in this country. Your son restaurant was closed down because of the illegal people that he had working there, and you penned the minister a letter. Who you think you be? My son. Well, your son was doing wrong things, Prime Minister. But are you feel are you untouchable? But I'm saying this. You guys are setting up St. Martin and the people to be extremely upset and disgusted with you all, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing. And I'm encouraging St. Martin people to remember this. Remember this. Don't forget it. And like I said, I'm happy that this has happened. I'm happy. I feel victorious because now I have ammunition for elections that is coming. I shouted out to my boy Dave, who said that he's coming to sign in and write into St. Martin so he could run for elections, and we must make his seat and room available in Parliament. But let me say this to you, Mr. Dave. The starting Van St. Martin have a seat for you right next to the security with a cleaner to sit down sometimes. That is your spot. If you're coming to clean the Parliament, fine, sure. That we can allow you to have. But again, there's no room in St. Martin politics for you, Dave. Our condolences to my good friend and nice gentleman and a fighter for the people of Curacao, Hedmond Wheels. Truly a sad cloud is hanging over the former Netherlands Antilles. Truly. And I want to say this to people, right? 2 things we need to stop. Stop talking about Romain Laville and his place of birth, a Dominican this and a Dominican that, and look how this Dominican boy and this, that's no. That's not the issue. Don't do it. And his parent, no. If you know his parent, if you know Joe, he's a very nice gentleman. I mean, he's benefiting from everything his son is doing. Yeah, but he's a nice gentleman. It has nothing to do with Dominica and Dominicans. It has to do with Romain Laville's greedy attitude. And the next thing that we need to stop doing, don't wish death on anyone, because there's no coming back from that. So when I make comparisons such as, you see what happened in Carousel to Hellman Wheels? I want this happen to this one, and I want, no, don't do it. Don't allow your tongue to be on anyone, because when you dig a hole for someone, you yourself might fall into it, and it's not a good thing. But St. Martin, tomorrow we are having a march. There's a petition out. Come out, come out, come out, and march. Sound your horns and send a message to the cabinet of the governor, because that ridiculous, utter nonsense to the response of the political climate that is happening here in St. Martin today, that the governor sent, makes no sense to me. I understand when he said the hijacking of Parliament was wrong. So it goes to show that we'll have Samuel Dill things right. Okay? And we understand that the numbers are what counts. We understand that the Prime Minister has to put her signature for the dissolving of Parliament. But listen to the voice of the people, Mr. Governor. Listen to their voice, because the Prime Minister is completely oblivious to their cries. Because for she, her son, and her son-in-law is working on a project that they're going to get millions from. And that is what it is. Because when St. Martin hit rock bottom and have been destroyed and there's nothing left, they can pick up themselves and go to the United States and go to Canada and go here and there. We have to stay here and pick up the pieces and try piece Humpty Dumpty back together. That's their intentions. Let's get the new election going. We need a different way of thinking and doing business in this country. Take care of yourself, St. Martin. God bless each and every one of you guys. Goodbye.
There was a time when people dare not utter a word. There was a time when people were in the dark and searching for accurate information. Just when all hope is lost and frustration hangs in the balance, Sxmtalk emerges and broke the silence. Join host Christopher Emmanuel for live and serious discussions and hard talk.